All right. I think we're streaming now, maybe. Thanks, Adobe. Wow, super cool. Great software. Yeah. Doesn't make me want to kill myself at all. All right. Have I gotten stream set up properly now? I feel like I need to delete all these like excessive streams that I've created here. So we have the current one, there's the mistake one, and the second one. It says that you can hear me, but I don't know. Let me know if you can't hear me. You should be able to hear me though. I don't know any reason why you wouldn't, but yeah, I had everything set up and ready to go for this stream, and then I'm pretty sure this has to do with the crash. I deactivated it. No, I just no. I'm pretty sure this actually has to do with over this past week. I think some people on the forums probably caught it, but obviously not everyone sees the like status updates, and not everyone uses the forums either. So I was just using Adobe Premiere like I had been, in the previous stream, and Adobe Premiere really didn't like something that I did. I don't know why or what, but then my whole computer freaked the fuck out. Adobe Premiere corrupted my graphics drivers, and that set me on this long quest of having to repair my graphics drivers. Thank you, Adobe. After repairing my graphics drivers, I thought that was it. I had no problem with my audio, but considering I hadn't actually tested my OBS settings since that happened, I have a feeling that not only did Adobe crash my graphics drivers, but I'm pretty sure they're the cause of crashing my audio drivers, because my troubleshooting that I just went through involved completely just reinstalling my audio drivers, much like I had to do with my graphics drivers. So thank you so much, Adobe. What a wonderful fucking company. I talked about how Sony Vegas crashed a lot, and that was one of the reasons why I stopped using Vegas. But I will say it's a first for me to ever have a software crash so hard that it has broken my fucking drivers. So yes, this is why I pirate your fucking software, Adobe, because you charge way too much and still deliver garbage. So, with that hot mess out of the fucking way, what a fucking way to start the night. Anyways, do I have all my documents and everything up? No, of course not, because I had to restart my computer and shut down everything that I had opened in preparation for the stream. Thank you so fucking much, Adobe. What a great company. Just swell guys. Just real fucking swell guys. No idea why when I type in RPG Maker, the first thing my browser wants to go to is rpgmakerforum.com and not rpgmakerweb.com. So this is cool. But anyways, let's excuse me, bring this up. Why do I have the impression you are trying to justify why? All right, you got me. I'm late this time. I'm not even going to give an excuse. I'm late. That's just it. I'm late. In hindsight, after the Adobe crash, I should have checked all of my drivers, and I should have made sure that my OBS was still working as intended after everything crashed. So you are correct. That is on me. In hindsight, I should have double-checked everything before starting the stream. So yes, I am late. Anyways, okay. So, what are we talking about today? How do I transition from that? Okay, so, as I said I was going to do last week, during my last stream, is I was going to go ahead and make a public posting for my game on the forums. So that way I could kind of open it up to more people, get more beta testing and so forth. And I can also show off how to design a web page. I do think this new design, which I have not actually carried over to the itch page because it's not necessary. I've actually sort of done some improvements to the overall store page's design. Like I would probably copy most, if not all of this, over to the itch page. The only reason why I haven't done it here is because I really kind of consider this itch page as like just for the beta test. Whenever I release the game in full, I'll probably create a whole new itch page for the full release. So this page is effectively done for. So there's no reason to waste time updating it. It's not important. So you can see I've even thinned out these the banners like I'd even said as well. So I'm not going to go over all of the points I made because I talked about them last time. I added the additional info section down here, as well as I've released this, which I will give a short preview for here on stream. So the additional info just says the planned release date, which is spring 2023. I don't know if I'm going to hit that, but anyways, that's the plan. We'll see if I make it. Expected playtime is roughly 5 to 6 hours for one playthrough. The game is non-linear and non-compulsory, resulting in story and events either being missed entirely or changed depending on what order you do events. The game will be a commercial game available on Steam. Everyone who watched my streams knows that already. More images, particularly still images, will come as the game progresses. It's pronounced Fidel and not Fidel. This page looks better with dark mode because these white banners probably won't look as good with a white background. So, yeah. So, of course, not everyone is going to be... not everyone is going to be beta testing the game. So, just kind of as, I guess, a little carrot on the stick for those who are not beta testing it, I wanted to go ahead and release something publicly besides just the store page. So I put together just like a soundtrack, just a little demo soundtrack. It's not the full thing because, like, oh, right. There we go. There's 20 songs here for the soundtrack, so obviously it's not the full thing. This is just 4 songs. 3 of the songs you'd actually listen to during the beta test if you're a beta tester, but then there's one extra one in there. Anyone not registered on the forum can't. Oh, okay. Well, oh well. Guess they'll have to deal with it in light mode. Anyways, and then there's just a bonus song in there. I've played it before on stream, but anyways. So it's just a short little video. I wound up, speaking of Sony Vegas, I wound up having to make this video in Sony Vegas because I was so fucking livid because this is the video. You can see how complex this video is, right? Right? You can see just all the complexity in this video is definitely the reason why Premiere would fucking crash because of all this moving complexity. It's definitely a real tough one to have to process. I'll tell you right now, it was the whirligoo down here, the little whirligoo thing. This thing gave me a pain. This was a pain in the ass to implement, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Because this is an element from my game. It was a sprite sheet. I tried converting the sprite sheet into a GIF. But whenever I converted it to a GIF with transparency, there's all sorts of weird artifacts. So I wound up having to convert it into a video file that I converted into a video file that had transparency on it, and I have no fucking clue what Premiere's problem was. Anyways, I wound up, after Premiere just shit the bed and shit all over my computer as well. It's kind of, it's like a dog. It's like a tiny little dog that has diarrhea. It shits in its own bed, freaks the fuck out, and comes into my bed and decides to shit all over it too. Is effectively what happened here. Thank you, Adobe Premiere. So I wound up giving up on Adobe Premiere, and I went back to Sony Vegas. Holy hell, have I not used that software in a long ass fucking time. God, I actually hate the workflow in it. I do like Adobe Premiere's workflow compared to it. But anyways, and I put this together. Wow, it's really quiet, I just realized. So, yep. Anyways, put this together in Vegas. One reason why I mentioned that is, for some reason, Vegas's output only to YouTube. Like, the actual video file itself looks fine, but for whatever reason, however it compresses the video, YouTube doesn't seem to like when it gets uploaded. And so, like, the colors kind of go all funny once it gets uploaded to YouTube. It's not important. Who cares? It's just about listening to the music. So I don't care. I wasn't going to fix it. Anyways, there's a 4-track soundtrack preview for everyone that's there. So anyways, I got a lot of feedback. Some of it's public here because Mr. RCX had a lot to say, in particular about my combat, and so you can definitely see whatever he wrote about it. But also, I've had quite a few messages just concerning the game as well. Yeah. So then there's fun fact: Vegas is at $24 in a bundle right now. Well, there you go. I mean, Vegas is a good editor. I don't like the workflow, but you know, if you need a competent video editor, then go with Vegas. Maybe. I don't know. It crashed a lot for me. Maybe not for you, but I don't recommend Premiere though. Anyways, and there's also a few other people that I contacted privately, I guess you'd say, like on Discord as well, not part of the forums, who also got to playtest it. And so I've collected a lot of feedback. There's a couple of other people who are going to playtest it. One person just got in touch with me this morning, so obviously I sent that off to them today, so they haven't gotten back to me. And then also down here, Mr. Michael Primo has also requested to beta test, and sure, no problem. I'll send you I'll send you the beta test whenever. I do recommend that if you want to try the beta test, maybe don't watch this whole stream, especially if you're watching the archive, because I'm going to play test my game later, and I'm going to show off how the developer would play it, because there was some confusion about some things. So what I wound up doing is taking like all of the feedback that I received, and I kind of tried to compile it into like the main points. So I really wanted to get more of an overview. You start getting into these like nitty-gritty details that, you know, maybe are not the most important thing. You know, misplaced tiled here. You're leaving the stream then. All right, well then, see you. I'm catch you later then. I really tried to get the information. Yeah, pretty much. 100% of my live audience. You're the only one who seems to live in a reasonable time zone that also is not busy at whatever time it is for you to be able to catch these streams. But I get quite, I think, for my for my channel size, I think I get relatively good viewership on the archives, and for some reason, my two most recent highlights actually outperformed some of the other. Have actually outperformed some of my streams, which is strange, but all right. Anyways, so I've taken basically all of the feedback that I've received, and I've tried to compile it into just like an overview of the main points. There are some small points like maybe this person doesn't like this type of thing, maybe this person doesn't like this type of thing. This person does like this thing, but that person doesn't. You know, it's trying to sort through the feedback that I've received and deciding what is valuable to me and my game and the vision of my game and what is not. Maybe the person missed the point. And if they missed the point, I need to ask myself whether that's on me. Did they miss it because I didn't explain it well, or is it just because they didn't have enough time with it? Which is definitely a possibility because the beta test is it's a controlled setting. There's like, you know, a lot of these RPG Maker games that I've played on stream have effectively been like, oh, we're still in development, but here, just go have fun in my game, and you can find all of the unfinished content if you want, which I think is a really bad way of going about getting feedback. I guess if you're going into the early access route, that's okay. But to me, early access is you're going to buy the game to help fund it, and as a thank you, I'm going to let you see the current build. If you're making a free game and you're giving early access to it, you're basically just giving them your game, right? There's no exchange that's happening there. You're just saying, here's my game, and that kind of loses all of the interest in the game too. And you wind up getting a bunch of useless feedback, even from me. Like, I'm terrible at paying attention to the fact that games are demos, early access, or whatever. I provide feedback as I experience it, and that's just going to develop a lot of noise in the feedback that you're going to have to sort through. Actually, that's too interesting to pass on. You can give a warning when I really need to go. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to beta test my game, that's totally fine. I will say when I'm switching over to it, not to mention you'll see me launch the game, and so even if I forget to mention it, if you see me launch the game, just peace out. You don't even need to say anything, because there's always a chance I might forget. So anyways, so my beta test is a very controlled environment. What would I say? A controlled section of the game. As a result of it being controlled, I think in the industry you'd call it a vertical slice of the game. You're missing some of the intro stuff and whatnot. So there is a specific demo build of my game that I had to add some extra information in there because 90% of the stuff that I've made for the game is just not present in the demo build. So, there's tacked on text dumps for tutorials, which is, I know it's not great. I've complained about text dump tutorials plenty of times before in the past. The difference here is that this is a beta test and you're jumping into my game kind of midway. So it's like, I could either just not give you a tutorial at all, which is not good, or you can just deal with this text dump that was kind of thrown in, so at least you know what's going on. So it's kind of the lesser of two evils is really what I went with. Just deciphering some of the feedback, I had to figure out what feedback is a result of it being such a controlled playtest, because like I said, they're not getting the full experience from start of the game to up to that point. So they're missing some context for things. So it's easy to say, oh, well, obviously they just didn't understand that because they didn't play all this stuff before. It's a result of this being a closed beta test. So it's just a matter of having to filter through all of that feedback and decide what is relevant for the game. And I think for other RPG developers, like all things, it should be balanced, right? Because on the one hand, when you get feedback, you obviously don't want to dig in your heels and say, no, you just don't understand my vision, and then not do anything about it and keep going in the same direction. That is a bad idea. If people are saying you are doing something bad or wrong, then you should really consider what they are saying and why they are saying it. On the other hand, you should not be someone who is a fucking doormat. If everyone is saying, well, this is the problem, and this is the problem, and this is the problem, and suddenly you start fixing literally everything that they say is a problem, then you are going to wind up with garbage. If you continue to just sand away the rough edges, you wind up with a smooth pebble. No one remembers a fucking smooth pebble. So, sometimes having the rough edges there is important to make your game memorable. And also, sometimes those rough edges are pertinent to the game. So, let's go through the good, all right? I wanted to go ahead and compile the good as well, so I know what I need to continue to do. I need to keep doing this because I am doing this in the right direction. So I also put the good here. I'm glad that RCX, there was RCX and, oh gosh, what's his name? He often posts in the profile posts, but he didn't post here. Is he in my recent messages? Yeah, Iron Brew. Iron Brew and RCX both included positives about what they liked. Very extensive positives. A lot of people did include positives as well. It's not like they just went focused solely on negatives, but usually, as is usually the case, it's much easier to focus on negative things than it is on positive things. So usually for a lot of the other people, positives are usually fairly short. So I definitely appreciate them drawing attention to some of the things that they really liked. And overall, this is the impression that I've got for good things. The puzzles are not bad. I'm not going to say they're really difficult, but they are good enough for the game. In particular, there is a fish mechanic, and it seems everyone liked the fish mechanic. I'm glad. Or at the very least, they brought up the fish. Someone brought it up that it's really weird that you use a fish when it could be better as a boulder or a rock or something. My response to that is, but would you remember that? Would you remember it if it was a rock? Because there's about 500,000 other RPG games that have used a boulder or a rock puzzle. So the whole reason you're bringing it up is because it was weird and stands out. Weird and stands out isn't always a good thing, but occasionally having something weird that stands out is going to make your game a lot more memorable. Just don't do it all the time because it suddenly becomes noise, a noise of just weirdness. So anyways, the fish mechanic, the fish idea was a good idea. I'm glad that paid off. The fish idea was a complete accident. It was the result of a placeholder art asset, and I thought it was so funny, I just rolled with it. And as a result, it was a good idea. So the second good point is that the game looks good. This one kind of confused me. I guess, as you can see here, it surprised me. This one surprised me because I don't really think mapping is my strongest suit. It's I think the mapping is okay. The maps are a little bit large. Some people brought that up as well. But I try not to make very empty, large maps. They are large, but they're not empty. And also, if I'm just using a modified FSM tile set, which FSM is barely a step up from RTP. So the fact that it's modified at least helps it feel slightly more original, but it's still art that you've seen. It's just kind of been adjusted a little bit. So it surprised me that I got actually quite a few compliments that the game looks good. Not surprising to me Although I am, don't get me wrong, I'm very glad to hear this. I got a lot of compliments on the music and the sound. So good. Those are things I put a lot of work into. I've talked about it plenty of times. I've said it 100 times. I've put a lot of work into the soundtrack. So definitely, I figured the music would be good. The sound, I'm a little bit more iffy on because I haven't really done like real sound design. Um, You're quoting Mr. Orc there, huh? Mr. Orc actually hasn't. I gave my game to him to beta test, but he hasn't done it yet. Maybe one day or never. Anyways, sound design, like I really hadn't done any real sound design stuff. Like I'd done sound design stuff for my music, but it's kind of easier to get away with sound design there because usually you're just trying to look for something that's more musical, and so it's easy to get away with weird processing on the sounds because if especially with my music, like the soundtrack is definitely kind of jazzy and stuff, but like if we're talking about my previous stuff with my band, I guess you would call it, it's pretty noisy, like electronic stuff. So like sounds didn't need to be very particular in the way that they fit into the world. So sound design is something that's kind of new to me, but I do think I pull it off pretty well. So it's glad to hear that I got compliments on the sound design as well. Um, the overall ambience is nice. By this, it's sort of a kind of a combination of everything. There's some effects that I have going on screen, as well as like background sounds and stuff, and just the flow of stuff. Um, Mr. Orc gets inspired by the void. He will be coming back next. Yeah, I mean, he still talks to me on Discord. We were just talking yesterday. Um, but basically, he's just taking a break right now, which I totally get. As he said, he's a developer first, and the streaming is just what he does for fun. I've mentioned before in the past, but to just bring it out again, I take streaming pretty seriously because I kind of also see it as an arm of my own marketing for this game. So I try to stream every week because that's how you build an audience. So that's why I'm streaming, and I try to stream every week. If I miss a week, well, it happens. I miss a week, but I haven't taken long breaks before. Anyways, so I was able to build nice ambience. I was able to control the tone, the mood of the game pretty well. I actually knew that as well. I was pretty proud of one particular section. Kind of, I would say like just after the midway point of the beta test. Whenever we get there, people who are watching the archive will see it. Fortuna will. It sounds like you're going to be leaving, so you won't see it until you play the beta test. There's a really nice section where you've been, there's like this high energy, like aggressive kind of background music, and then things kind of just like take a calm for a moment, and I don't know, it's so cool, man. The action indicator. Okay, so this one really surprised me, although it shouldn't have. So I'm using Galv's action indicator, which all it does is it allows you to make an icon pop up over events. And you can use that in a number of different ways, however you want. The way that I use it is a very simplified version, is basically if you can interact with the object, a little like blue dot will pop up over it. And pretty much everyone had said that they really like this action indicator. They're glad that I'd implemented it. So I was because it's kind of funny. I threw the action indicator in without much thought. I was just kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. I guess I'll put that in there. I didn't put much thought behind it, so I was kind of surprised that so many people brought it up. It was kind of an afterthought to the game, and yet people liked it. So neat. The action indicator is helpful. Cool. So let's move on to the bad of my game. So movement is slow. There's not a lot I can do about this. We'll go down when we get to the conclusion here. I'll kind of talk some more about that. But basically, there's not a lot I can do about that. However, it's also not the worst thing in the world. I'll explain more once again when I get down lower. Maps are big. I explained this as well when we were up here talking about looking good. It surprised me because my mapping is not the best, and I know my maps can be a little bit big. So yeah, it's bad. Maps are very large, and I think one thing that doesn't help them is that because you move so slow, they wind up feeling even larger than they really are. We'll have to see it from myself. Your interactables must be very obscure without the indicator. Maybe. I don't know. So anyways, yeah, because of the slow movement, maps feel extra large, and they're already pretty large as it is. Caldera Colosso, enemies move too fast. Caldera Colosso is like the second half of the beta test. I will say this right now, Fortuna, if you plan on beta testing it, I would actually really appreciate it if you can make it all the way to Caldera Colosso. Because of a negative point we're going to get to soon, a lot of people who play tested this actually didn't make it to Caldera Colosso. It's really kind of disappointing to me too, because like it's not long. The beta test is pretty short. So you assholes just give up before you get to the end of it. Jack-offs. It makes me so angry. I send you a message saying, hey, it's going to take about an hour to do it. And they're like, well, I played 40 minutes. Hey, it's Mr. Orc. He's here. So anyways, most people didn't make it to Caldera Colosso. So the actual feedback I have on Caldera Colosso is not a lot because most people didn't make it there. Fortuna, if you do plan on beta testing it, and Mr. Orc, since you're here, if you do plan on beta testing it, I would really appreciate it if you actually play the whole damn thing, or at the very least, try Caldera Colosso, because I think Caldera Colosso is so fucking cool, and no one got there. I put so much work into Caldera Colosso, and no one fucking doesn't. Anyways, enemies move too fast in Caldera Colosso. That is one of the complaints. One of the few complaints I had on Caldera Colosso. There's a specific puzzle in the map that confused people a little bit. I suppose that should make you think. I know why people didn't get there. I'm about to explain why in just a moment. There's a particular puzzle that confused some people. I've made some adjustment to this already, and I'll show off the adjustment later. Actually, since Fortuna might disappear, I'll show off the adjustment first, and then we'll beta test later. So anyways, but basically it was just that I didn't really change much about the puzzle other than a couple of small things to basically kind of give more information to the player. What a lot of the confusion came down to is not the puzzle itself, but how much information they have in a single screen. I made an adjustment to that hopefully fixes that. So without actually radically changing the puzzle itself. I do like it. This is a particularly kind of brain-scratching puzzle. And I'm glad to see it seemed to have stumped a lot of people for a little bit. But it also seemed most of the people who did try the puzzle did get that feeling of, oh, I get it now, whenever they finally reach the answer to it, which is what I want to hear, is the aha moment, with the puzzle. So yeah, okay. So the next point. The next point of my feedback is why people didn't make it to Caldera Colosso. The combat. We can look through all of these things, but I think the very last point is really it. Combat is boring. So that most people's feedback pretty much boils down to this. Combat is boring. And this is why a lot of people quit. The reason it's boring is because numbers are low, fights are long. That's really it. Numbers are low and fights are long. And so people got bored and just kind of gave up before making it to Caldera Colosso. And the other thing as well, this also does kind of annoy me a little bit. There's a few people who quit before making it to Caldera Colosso because they got soft locked. And this, I will admit, this is definitely my fault. There is a bug with, I have a respawn and checkpoint mechanic with the puzzles where like if you make a mistake, like there's a point that will save the player's location. So that way, if you make a mistake, it is supposed to just bring you back to that point. You'll respawn back at that checkpoint. However, something has gone wonky with the logic of it, where it seems to assign the respawn point to like the wrong position on the map. I don't know why. I have to look into it. I've looked into it a little bit, and at a surface glance, everything looks fine. So I don't know if it's like the order of executions, maybe a parallel event. Like as a single event, as a single object, everything is fine. There must be something beyond that event somewhere that is fucking with the player location. So anyways, as a result of this weird bug, basically, on a rare occasion, by the way, it doesn't happen all the time. On a rare occasion, people will spawn in like an impassable object or something. I don't know why. So that is my fault. I'm not arguing with that. However, what annoys me a little bit is that at the very beginning of the fucking beta test, in the text, I say, if you get stuck or you have trouble, I have given you a skill in your skill menu called Debug Dev Menu. Use it if you find yourself in trouble. So it annoys me to no end that people are like, well, I got soft locked and so I just stopped playing. It's like, did you read the fucking beginning? I said if you got stuck, you have a skill to fix that shit. Why didn't you fucking use the skill? God. So I've informed people directly, and I will probably, despite you being here, Fortuna, I will still probably include this information in my message to you. You have a skill that you can use in the event you get soft locked. Please use it instead of giving up. So, anyways, so the other complaints about combat, players aren't understanding elemental weaknesses, technically the lack thereof. A lot of people thought that enemies have an elemental weakness. My combat, you're giving way too much credit to my combat. My combat is extremely simplified. Most enemies don't have elemental weaknesses. Now, I did have some I didn't have any elemental weaknesses. I did have some elemental resistances if the enemy's design spoke like they should have resistance to it. Like if a flaming skull, you wouldn't think would have the same sort of susceptibility to fire as, like a lizard or something, right? So, in that case, I gave the that enemy, the flaming skull, a resistance to fire because it just makes sense. But anyways, also bruh, don't you fucking start. First of all, to add to your previous message, if you don't want to use it, that's fine. Just use it to put yourself back to somewhere safe, not cheating by skipping forward. You can use it to put yourself back to somewhere safe. The checkpoint system is supposed to do that. If you fuck up, it's supposed to bring you back to checkpoint, and it works some of the time. That's the whole reason. Bruh, your second message, test your game before making it into beta. I did. I play tested it a lot. The thing is is that it's not consistent. The problem of getting soft lock. It happens randomly because, like I said, it's not a problem with the event itself. There's some sort of other event not contained in here that I think is fucking with the logic. Although it's beyond me because I specifically set, like, these are not player X and Y variables. These are player checkpoint X and Y. So basically, it saves the player's X and Y variable not to my standard player XY variable, but saves it to a unique XY variable that nothing else touches. So that's the thing that confuses me. Anyways, doesn't matter. I'll look into that. I'll debug that later. Point is, if you don't want to use it, then you have to reset the whole game. Or you can just use it to put yourself back a little bit, just get yourself out of the non-passable object and try again. But I did playtest my game. I playtested my game a lot, and I didn't run into that problem because it is not consistent. So, anyways, elements. There, like I was saying, people for some reason assumed that there were elemental weaknesses. I don't know why that is. I will explain some more about that later. Tanky enemies. I already mentioned that. Combat is boring, and that's because enemies it's slow to kill enemies. No HP bars. This one kind of got me. There's a lot to do. All right. No HP bars. This one kind of got me. I'm not going to go into this discussion right now. I kind of want to just kind of go through this really fast. No HP bars is exactly as it sounds on the tin. Enemies don't have HP bars. No visible HP bars. Casting without ConP. So this one's kind of a serious problem, and I can understand the frustration here. So I do have it set. I've bypassed the typical RPG Maker rules, I guess you could say. You know, typically RPG Maker games prevent you from using a skill that you don't have enough MP for. I've bypassed that, so you can technically select a skill that you don't have enough MP for. Which led to some frustration with players, and I definitely understand that. Part of this is that part of this is because I just don't have the HUD implemented. One thing that I think is really important is that if I'm going to let people cast skills or select skills, I guess I should say, select skills even when they don't have enough MP, they should always have that information visible. So they can, like, when the skill menu pops up, they can see, oh, that costs 6, but oh, here's my MP. Oh, I don't have enough. Never mind, I shouldn't use that right now. The whole reason why it's there, and I'm reconsidering this choice now, actually, is that there is a point that will happen later in my game where you'll be able to cast more than one skill per turn. The problem is how RPG Maker handles like doing 2 turns in 1 turn, or taking 2 actions in 1 turn. Yeah, I know everyone did. Shut up. So it's fine. I've learned this on my own, despite everyone telling me. Sometimes you just gotta let stubborn people be stubborn, and they'll learn on their own. Here's the thing, right? So the reason why I want to disable it is because at a point, like I said, you'd be able to take 2 actions in a turn. And unfortunately, the way that RPG Maker handles this is you might take an action and then later gain, like, you can only select actions based on the current MP that you have. So, for example, you can build MP in my game by attacking. So let's say you can take 2 actions in a turn. Currently, you have 3 MP. What you want to do in this single turn is first attack to gain enough MP so that you have 6 MP, right? Because attacking boosts your MP. Then, with your second action, now that you have 6 MP, you can select a magic attack. By default, in RPG Maker, you cannot do that. You have to make your selection, your action selection, based on your current stats. So by default in RPG Maker, you would be able to, you wouldn't be able to select your magic. You'd be able to do your attack and have enough MP for your second action, but because RPG Maker didn't know that when you first didn't know that you'd have enough MP to do that, you can't actually select it. So this is the reason why I enabled that, is because at a point later, you should be able to do that. Yeah. So this is the reason why I implemented that system. I may go back on this. I don't know what I want to do about this, because it's conflict, right? Because on the one hand, you have the frustration of being able to select skills when you don't have enough NP for it. However, later on, it adds so much strategic depth to be able to select skills you don't have enough NP for, right? So it's like, what do I want? Do I want that strategic depth, or do I want to avoid the frustration? Like I said, if I have the battle HUD in place where you'll always be able to see the player's MP, it might relieve some of the frustration. The problem right now with the default, window-based HUD is that whenever you select skills or whatever, a new window comes up replacing the player window. So now you can no longer see the player's MP, which causes a problem because you don't know how much MP you have, but you can select a skill, right? You don't have that information visible. I think the best way would be to set the MP cost at 0 while you have the double action state. Yeah, but that... no, because then you would just, why would you... You don't really have a strategy at that point anymore, because obviously you're going to just want to do the stronger action, right? If it costs 0 MP to use your magic, then why would you even bother using attack the first turn and then magic the second turn when you could just do magic, right? So, I don't know. Anyways, I'll look into that. I think the one thing I do have to say about this is it's definitely my bad for the beta, because obviously in the beta test itself, you don't have that double action turn in the beta. Actually, you kind of do. It's rare. It's rare. You could technically get it in Caldera Colosso, but it's rare. So for the majority of the beta test, you wouldn't have that ability. So this is why it's my fault, is for the beta test at least, I should have disabled the plugin. I just didn't think about it because I'd grown so used to having that whole function bypassed in my own playtesting, it didn't even occur to me. I totally forgot that it was installed. So when I released the beta, that plugin was still enabled. I should have disabled that for the beta, though. That is on me. I will totally agree with that. Unfortunately, that led to quite a bit of frustration from some players. One of the other comments here, I have a skill called Sober Stabilizer. It's effectively useless. It's supposed to remove states from you. The problem is that, yes, technically it can remove states from you, but first of all, in order to use Sober Stabilizer, it kind of has special conditions in order to even use it in the first place. And then after using it, enemies can quickly place states back on you, right away, which makes it effectively useless because it's so hard to use Sober Stabilizer, and then it's effectively useless even if you do use it. So anyways, the last thing here is just mixed signals. So I had a lot of people comment that ConP as the magic term is a little bit confusing. And I think that's a great segue into my conclusions on all of this information. So after kind of squishing down all the feedback into just this kind of overview of most of the people's complaints, I wanted to kind of think about it and kind of decide my conclusions on how to handle some of these complaints, or not just complaints, but just the overall feedback. I know it's kind of out of order, but I want to start with the whole ConP thing. So let's see, where is it? Yeah, okay. So I had people complain about ConP because it's confusing, and in the past, I have talked about it's really frustrating when games use cute terms for like well-established norms. I don't like I don't like that. I'm not a fan because it just adds unnecessary confusion. However, the way that I see it with ConP, despite it technically just being MP with a cute name, that thing I don't like, the difference here between that and other games that have done that is, first of all, it's the only one that does it. All the other stats are normal names. You have attack, magic attack, all of those names are normal. I did consider changing magic attack to like confidence attack or something like that. However, it's already in the story that people just call it doing magic. They say it, having enough confidence helps cast magic, right? So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just leave it as magic attack. The second reason is that it's always visible on your HUD. Like you are directly seeing and interacting with ConP in every battle, in every part of the game. So with it only being a single term that has been changed to have a cute name, and it's something that you will interact with throughout the entire span of the game, the way I see it is it might cause some initial frustration with like maybe the first couple of battles, but I think players will adjust to that very, very quickly. And the overall trade-off is that it is thematically consistent with the game. So I think in this case, the thematic consistency is more important than the clarity on the name, on the term. You can make the MP cost and HP cost. That would be very fun, as it gives the players a yeah. Other than I don't. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, so basically that's what I said here. Though I had some complaints about ConP as a term not making sense, some appreciated the thematic tying of the term to the game. Also, I thought this is just something worth mentioning that I think is fun. My MP healing items, because it's confidence, right? I think having the magic attack be not confidence attacks while using confidence points instead of magic points actually makes ConP worse. Yeah, I'll think about it. It's really not that important. I think I really kind of think this is not such a big thing. I guess this is one thing that kind of surprised me. I should have put a note here. This surprises me because like it's not that important, and like I said, it's something that you are constantly interacting with. That I think people will learn it pretty quick. So as I was saying, so one thing that I do like about this thematic tying is so like my MP restorative. It's disconnected. Oh no, that's what you mean. I thought you meant about the stream. Yeah, I know. I thought about that, but I don't know. They still refer to it as magic. We'll think about it. Anyways, so as I was saying, is the restorative items are, because it's restoring your confidence, right? So they're like compliments. So so like you have like a compliment, like a love letter, or it's like, I don't know. There's like 3 steps. I don't remember exactly the names I used, but it's like a compliment, a thank you letter, and like a love letter for restoring your confidence. It's funny. I had someone also compliment that they like that. I think it would actually clarify ConP, and maybe. As I said here, I think it might be somewhat confusing at first. Players will quickly adjust to it, and it will become an integral part of Fidel, the game, identity. That's the reason why I'm probably going to stick with ConP, because I'm definitely not going to change it. Now, calling it confidence attacks calling it confidence attacks, that I might make that change. It's not decided. One reason also why I didn't go with that is it's just really long. So in your menu, you're going to have confidence attacks, and then you're going to have attack, confidence attacks, defense. It's just, so I'd have to shorten it down to like con attack, which just sounds a little bit strange, but I guess so does ConP. RCX, I think, realized this as well, because he recommended maybe shortening ConP down to like CFP. But just to be clear, there is a reason why I didn't shorten down confidence with its first letter being C and points with its first letter being P. There's a reason why I didn't shorten that down to those two letters, especially when the main character is a child. It just feels a little bit in poor taste to use those abbreviations. So so there's a reason why it's not that letter and that letter together, but instead it's ConP. So anyways, so to go through the rest of the conclusions I made about my about the points here, we'll just start at the top. I'll skip over this one because we've already talked about it. So as I said, people seem to like the map and the puzzles and like all this stuff. So keep it the same quality, put into mapping and design at the cave level, but be more considerate of the overall size. That's my conclusion. So I put a little asterisk here. My point here being concerning map size, I wouldn't overly concern myself with this. While the complaint is understandable and it may help to have slightly smaller maps, having the right size to encourage exploration while providing breathing room for the aforementioned mapping level design quality bar to be reached is more important. It also provides relief from constant battling. So yeah, despite the maps being large, and as I said here, making them slightly smaller may benefit the game. It's not really a priority because I think despite their size, it does work in a benefit towards the game. It's not perfect, like I said, but to me, I think if people were complimenting the overall like level design, and part of that level's design is the size of these maps, it's almost contradictory to say to shrink the maps down, because that's almost like taking an entirely different philosophy to level design. So it's kind of a contradiction there. So it's just, once again, it comes down to deciding what I think is best for my game. And I think what's best for my game is not worrying too much about size. I'll try to make the maps a little bit smaller going forward, but it's not something I'm going to worry myself too much about. Next, use the action indicator more. Ideally, place it on nearly every single interactable thing, even if it's obvious. So I bring this up because the action indicator got a lot of praise, for whatever reason, for being implemented into my game. And originally, it was only there to provide hints for some interactable things, but not everything. But despite, because everyone seemed to appreciate its inclusion, and actually throughout most of the beta test, pretty much everything did have the action indicator on it. I figured it's probably important to make sure that I include the action indicator on just everything for consistency's sake. So basically, I've changed my rule on how and where I place the action indicator to basically, if you interact with it, it will have an action indicator. So that's what I'm going to do going forward with that. Investigate if there are options to adjust default player speed. So I did do this. I already did. There's a plugin where, so here's the thing, right? Because RPG Maker's speed settings don't have enough granularity. See, too big maps is more a problem in NPC area, or if the map itself is boring to look at. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So there's not enough granularity with RPG Maker speed, because it's kind of like you have 4, which is you have 4, which is like it's your normal speed, but that's what the game is at. It's at 4, but people will complain that you're slow. But to me, 5 is just like breakneck speed. You're running around like fucking Usain Bolt, and it's way too fast. So I was looking to see if there's some sort of plugin where I could just, instead of like adding news, all I wanted to do is take the baseline speed of all of the speeds and just kind of maybe bump them up. Yeah, but the problem with that is that resetting the player speeds after like cutscenes, cinematics, whatever you want to call them. So I just wanted something that would just like bump the normal speed up for everything. NPCs, the player, everything would just move like 15% faster. I played around with numbers. So like I said, I found a plugin that does this. And I played around with a lot of different numbers, and it was roughly about 15% faster. To me, felt like you still had a comfortable pace that my game is built around, but it wasn't quite so slow as well. The problem was it started breaking a lot of other things, and I don't know if this is because it's of an incompatibility with some other plugin or something, but basically, all of my cutscenes, anytime I use the set speed option or move route option, set speed, like anything that was not 4 was way faster than anything else. Like even faster than a 6. It was like you basically instantly teleported somewhere. And I don't know why, because the settings in the plugins were not set that way. So it just seems to be some sort of incompatibility, I think, that's causing that problem. So, I would love to just slightly bump the speed up for everyone, but I'm going to have to investigate that further. I really feel like a plugin, it really shouldn't be a plugin, or not at least a complex plugin. There's just like somewhere in the default RPG Maker code that just says, this is how many frames between grids, right? That's how it sets the speed. So all I want to do is change that number of how many frames between grid spaces for the 4 speed. And I don't know where that is, but that's all I really want to change, is just to bump that up a little bit. Maybe. I changed movement speed quite a lot throughout my cutscenes, so it wouldn't just be at the end of the event. It would be like any time that there's a change speed, it would need to be put there. Or I guess, I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I guess what you're saying is like if I use the movement route change speed to like 4, that would have its own settings, and then I would just use a script call to basically override that, right? So basically, during the cutscenes, it would use the default like standard RPG Maker 4 speed, but then after the cutscene, it would bump the speed up a little bit with the script call. Is that what you're saying? Is that what would happen? Because if that's what it would be, then yeah, that would be fine. In fact, actually, I have a common event already to simplify starting and ending cutscenes. And so all I'd have to do is add that into that common event, and that would be really simple. If it was really that simple, if it really was that easy, that the 4 speed by default in in the game would stay the same, but just the script call would override it thereafter, then I would just tack it on to the end of the end cutscene common event, and there we go. Every cutscene is fixed in the game. I'll look into that. Let's see. Okay, that's what I just said. Adding hint stones to puzzle rooms may help clarify puzzles. Correct the confusing lever sequence in the 3 pools room. Add a zoom out near the levers. So I don't know about the hint stone. I do actually have hint stones already in my game, so that's probably totally fine. But this is where, let me move this over here. Okay, then I may just do that then. Oh gosh, because the whole beginning of this freaking stream was a disaster. Hang on. So I'll go ahead and show this off now. What new releases? Dwarf Fortress, Assassin's Creed, Ixion. I don't know what that is. Paragon. Hey, Paragon was a game that got shut down. Jedi Survivors, The Last of Us, Path of Exile, Portal with RTX. I don't have an RTX card though. Anyways, so let me show this off instead of just going right into the beta test because. I want to show some of these changes that I've already made. See, I use it in Origins. It's exactly the same as if you use change speed 3.8, which is not an option, of course. Yeah. Nice. Okay, cool. Then I will try that. Send me the script call whenever you get a chance, and I will just drop that into my cutscene common event. Where is it? There it is. There's my common event right there. Just drop it in there right at the end. All right. So we want to go to this room. I'm not going to. No, not that one. This room. I'm not going to show off the solution because obviously you guys are going to play the beta test. But I will show off what change I've made here from the beta test. We'll turn up the. Oh, it's at 70. Okay. Why does it seem so quiet though? It's not at 100 here. My system volume. That's why. Okay, so first of all, I've shrunk this room down a lot. I've kind of crunched it together, and that was because of a new change that I've made. So you have these 3 tanks here. And so this is what I was talking about, where people got kind of confused on this puzzle. And it mostly came down to not having enough information on a single screen. And of course you have all this stuff spaced out. So what I came up with is this. There we go. You can now see all of the tanks in a single screen. Yeah, Fidel marches over the lava and the walls. Yes. So I've also added the little indicator so you can see which one you've activated. This might be providing too much information though. I think it's okay, but like if you activate one switch, there's a little indicator that pops up there. So this kind of helps clarify information. And then the other thing too is, hello Michael, nice to have you here. Is one other change that I made. So when you fill it up, before you could actually interact with these levers here. You could interact with them still, but it was kind of pointless because whenever you drain the water, it resets all the levers anyways, which kind of led to some confusion with people. So now it just says, oh, the lever is stuck. Maybe I should drain the water first. It effectively operates the same way, but just now you can't play with the levers now that you filled the tank. Because playing with the levers after you fill the tank is not going to do anything. You'd have to drain the tank anyways. So all it does is just reduce the amount of confusion that's there. So now that's just what it says. You have to drain the water first. The water drains, and now you can interact with the switches again. So this helps to reduce some of the confusion on this puzzle here. So I don't know what's going on with the fish there. That looked like a bug, yeah. So it looks like the fish keeps spawning, but also despawning. So that looks like something I need to investigate. Why is that happening? Let's add it to the list. Hang on. Let me add it to the list of things I need to investigate. What do I call it? Fish spawning problem. In 3 pools room. Alright. I'll investigate it. Shut up! Alright. First of all, there's a lot of shit going on in this game. I'm not an expert on this stuff either. this whole fish mechanic was complicated to implement. Literally unplayable. It is nothing but a graphical glitch. You cannot, like, if I go there, I don't think the fish is actually there. It is like spawning and despawning right away for some reason. But yeah, there's no fish here. So it's not like you could actually cheese the game with this. It's just a graphical glitch, that's all. So anyways, here's the change that I've made. And which is why I think this complaint here about adding the hint stone is probably not entirely necessary, because it seemed like most of the complaints about this puzzle just came down to, I don't have all the information I need on one screen. So I think having the map zoom out, yeah, the tiles on the, oh, where's the splashing animation? Oh. There isn't one. First of all, Mr. Orc, it's felsic lava, okay? Felsic lava is rich in silicate, so it is not very runny. It's very, very viscous, so it's kind of like a very syrupy kind of lava. So yeah, it's not going to splash anyways. Yes, that is actually in the story. Not the splashing part, but the felsic lava part is actually in the story. That is the joke of this level. You will realize, because if you read, let's go back to the where's my store page? What did I write here? Here, the mountain's sickness. So it's a play on words. Felsic lava. It fell sick. Ha! Get it? It's a dumb joke. Anyways. Anyways. So yeah. The Fidel is here to solve the mountain sickness because it fell sick. Ha! That is the mystery of the mountain. The felsic lava. Anyways. So yeah, it's all right. Anyways, it's important that players are aware that enemies... Okay, yeah, so we're moving on to the next thing here. So this is concerning the elemental weaknesses. I talked about this before. It's important that players are aware that enemies don't have elemental weaknesses. I don't know why players kept thinking that enemies have elemental weaknesses. I would remove any rare exceptions to this rule, even if it doesn't make logical sense based on the enemy's design. All enemies should follow the same rules. No elemental resistances. I would prioritize stack resistances. What a dad joke. Thanks. So anyways, so this is what I talked about before. So a lot of people were thinking that enemies have elemental resistances, and I was saying that I only gave elemental resistances to enemies that have a design that look like they should have an elemental resistance. But for the most part, enemies didn't have any weaknesses or resistances to elements. Everyone is treated the same. However, due to the confusion that I had, I have now changed this rule. It doesn't matter what the design looks like. Everyone is following the same rules. No elemental resistances. So every enemy will not have any weaknesses or have any resistances. However, to give some sort of strategy for learning enemies, there will be stack resistances. Yeah. I think my combat is pretty simplified. I've kind of like cut out a lot of the fluff when it comes to like RPG turn-based combat, and I have my own stacking mechanic thing that's like its unique gimmick. But then like that's what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on the stacking mechanics. So anything that's not related to that has basically been cut out. You have stacking and you have confidence. Focus on that. Who gives a shit about the rest? So everything else has been simplified. Like turn order is really simplified. I had RCX had complimented that I used Janfly's turn order display thing, which it's fine. I'm glad he likes it. but it feels really kind of pointless in my game, to the point that I was really considering actually just cutting out turn order, because turn order is really simple in my game. Fiddle goes first. The end. It's a one party member game. Fiddle. That is the only character you have. It's Fiddle. So you don't need to know which one of your party members is going to go first, and then enemies go. So Fiddle always goes first, and then enemies go. Right. So there's no reason to know turn order. It doesn't offer any strategy. But anyways, he liked the turn order display, so cool. I guess it's there. But I've really considered just deleting it because it doesn't offer anything. And this is all just to say, I mean, this is kind of more of the like simplified combat of my game. There's no like weird maths going on in the background to determine which enemy or player or actor is going to go first. Like, no, it's a simple rule. The player goes first. The end. There is one rare exception, sort of. And that's wind attacks, because each of the elements have their own like special quirk about them, and wind attacks always go first. However, what happens when the player and an enemy uses a wind attack? Well, it follows the same rule. Fiddle gets priority. Yeah, if Fiddle is always first, then no need for turn order. Yeah, and the thing is like there's not like, so the turn order thing kind of gets all funny too with that whole wind attack example, because the wind attack will go first, but that's not based on agility. Turn order is displayed on like, speed of characters. So even if they are attacking first, the turn order display is not going to properly display that anyways. So it actually may even lead to more confusion as a result. So yeah, I will probably remove it because it doesn't serve any purpose to my game. There's no strategy to be gained out of having turn order display. Fiddle always goes first. Slightly buffing stacking damage and chance may help alleviate tankiness. However, adjust enemy balance later when the game is more complete. Don't think too much about this problem for now. So this is addressing just combat in general. The tanky enemies, I think, is one of the things. Really just kind of combat being boring as a whole. You don't need turn order display. People just like it for no reason. If you got no turn order manipulation in your game, get rid of it. Yep. That's what I was pretty much thinking about. So yeah, I'll probably cut it out. This is in reference to the tanky enemies. So I might slightly buff, like in the interim. You this doesn't matter to you, but slightly buffing damage and stacking chance. However, as it says here, I'm not going to worry about the like balancing all that for right now. I really want to see how numbers transform over the like lifespan of the game to really get a sense of where balancing needs to occur. Right now, and this is actually kind of an accident, but it doesn't really matter. In the beta test, you can't level up. I didn't mean for that to happen. Something went wonky with the XP formula that just results in a 0 or like really low XP. Like you might get 2 or 3 XP, but you need like 100 to level up or something like that. So anyways, that was an accident, but it doesn't matter. You probably wouldn't level up throughout the span. So you won't really get to see how those numbers like change over time. You just kind of experience numbers as they are in the beta test. And that's just that. Let's see. It'd be fun to play my game without turn order. And by fun, I mean horrible. Okay. Good to know. So anyways, but yeah, basically this boils down to there's no point in spending a lot of time balancing stuff because I'll probably wind up changing that later when the game is more complete and I have a more full picture from start to end on how numbers transform over the span of the game. So I'm just not going to worry about that too much. Add HP bars to game rules with the default turned off. Enable the option RCX mode. I forgot about that. So read the fucking thread. If read the fucking thread with RCX here, and you'll get it. So I'm trying to find a way to implement HP bars for enemies in my game. The problem I have is I want it to be a game rule because I deliberately didn't want enemies to have HP bars visible. that was a very deliberate choice, something I very deliberately thought about and very deliberately decided not to implement. However, having the debate with RCX, I have changed my mind. However, a big part of my game is game rules, as I've talked about before, and so I really want to just implement HP bars as a game rules. This is where the current problem is a lot of the HP bar plugins that I've found don't have any sort of way of enabling them or disabling them after you have like started the game. Like you can there's no way to like use a switch or a plugin command to enable or disable HP bars as a whole for the game. As far as I can tell, there might be some sort of option with the lunatic mode with Yawnfly's visual HP bars. So I'll just have to ask around about that and see if I can find a solution to that. But anyways, I don't want to implement HP bars until it can be implemented into my game rule system, because I personally don't want HP bars in my game. However, how RCX sold me on this idea is something I preach about in every one of my streams, and that's accessibility and options. And he basically brought that up. He brought up the whole. He said that it's kind of contradictory of me to always preach about providing players options, but then not wanting to provide the player an option to enable HP bars. And because he brought up that argument, I was like, huh, you know what? He's right. And so I've changed my mind about it. I will implement HP bars if I can find a way to do this, like I said, to be able to turn them on or turn them off through game rules. So yeah, but I personally don't want HP bars in my game. So yeah, for right now, they're just not there. Anyways, next one, casting without ConP is problematic. We already kind of talked about this. So yeah, we already discussed casting without ConP. So we'll just go to the next one. Add stack resistant state after the player uses a sober stabilizer. Yeah, I brought this up here. Sober stabilizer is kind of pointless because it does remove like all of your states. It's supposed to remove all of your states, but enemies can quickly reapply the states right after you've removed them, and it just makes it feel really kind of useless. So yeah. Though I had okay, yeah, this is talking about ConP. We already discussed that, and then the last one. I'd actually rather, if I was going to do that, Mr. Orc, I would rather actually just use HP bars instead of changing the hue. Just personally, I feel like the HP bars provide more information. So, I don't know. Maybe. We'll think about it. I'll think about it. You know what? I'll add it to the list. I'll put it, where's my HP bars? Here we go. We'll add another note here. Orc suggested changing enemy hue to indicate health. There we go. I'll think about it. So the last one here, the last point, this is kind of the most serious point that's been brought up about combat. Combat is boring. What can I do about this? And I don't have an answer for this. For now, this is basically what it comes down to. Correct where I can. Reduce the number of encounters if necessary to prioritize exploration puzzles in the town. Remember the limited scope of this game. Don't get bogged down in overcorrecting, and just do better next time. Fortuna, you're just called Fortuna. Maybe Pixie. Maybe Pixie, but mostly just Fortuna. Mr. Orc. Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's why I changed my mind basically mid-sentence a moment ago to adding this here. I realized the error of my ways in the middle of speaking my errors. So yeah, I will look into it. But yeah, basically with combat, this is what it boils down to: is I radically overhauling the combat to make it more exciting and fun is going to take a lot of time. And one of the things I've talked about this a lot on these streams is you fuckers need to start finishing your games. You fuckers need to start finishing your games. And my game is not supposed to be some sort of epic, long game that I've spent years and years making. Look, I've done that. Not with games, but I've done that with music, with books. I've spent years, and the result is disappointment. I mean, if you're talking about finishing a game, I have a finished game. It's trash, but I have a finished game. I have 2 finished games. One of them super trash. One of them super trash, and I don't ever talk about it. The other one is trash. One of them was made in Unity, and one was made in RPG Maker. Can you guess which one is super trash and which one is trash? Anyways, so basically, what I mean here is, so correct where I can. So this is what I was talking about before, adjusting numbers, right? I can adjust numbers to make things feel more interesting. So I can correct where I can. If necessary, reduce the encounters to prioritize the parts that have been complemented, the strong suits of my game. People have complemented the levels, so the level design, exploration, and puzzles. People haven't experienced the town, but honestly, sure, prioritize the town, right? Like, we can shift the focus away from being a more combat focused. It's not even that combat focused, honestly. But anyways, shift it even further away from combat and focus it more on the other parts that I excel at. The parts, I wouldn't say excel, but the parts I'm stronger at with the game design. So I just need to remember the limited scope. I've preached about this a lot. I've talked about this a lot. My game has a very limited scope. Going outside of it is just going to slow down production of the game, and I think is not going to have a worthwhile return for the effort. So I just need to remember the limited scope of the game. Don't get bogged down with overcorrecting. This is where you start getting into development hell, where you start overcorrecting all of your everything in your game to meet feedback or some sort of quality, some arbitrary quality goal that you've set for yourself, or whatever the case is. But either way, you just get stuck in development hell by just overcorrecting. And then, of course, the most important part is just do better next time. Finish what you have now, learn from what you're doing now, and do better next time. So that's that. So yeah, this is basically all of the information that most of the feedback I've received from all of the people who played my game. Still waiting on Mr. Orc to playtest my game. Michael Primo is going to playtest my game as well. I haven't sent that off to him. And who contacted me today? Someone else had contacted me about playtesting it. Anyways, I'm going to pretty much leave the playtest open until probably the end of December or something. So anyone who hasn't playtested it yet, who still wants to, is of course welcome to contact me. At a certain point, I think any more feedback, like I'm going to be so far beyond development of the game from the beta that I think a lot of the feedback is not going to be important anymore. So yeah, that's the reason why I'd shut down the beta at that point. I've received most of the same feedback, same information from other people, and everything else has just been developed past that point. So right. Yeah. Oh, there's some other things I've made a change on in here, just small things I'm going to go ahead and mention. And after I mention these small changes I've made to the level design itself, you're going to stream it. Nice. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you upload the article. I won't be able to catch it. It's going to be too late here. So I won't be able to watch you live, but you can bet your fucking ass. Tomorrow I'm going to have my notepad here and my pen, and I'm going to be watching that whole thing, and I'm going to be jotting notes down. So do it and get that archive up as quickly as you can. Anyways, before I move on to actually playing the beta, which is going to be the point that you guys are going to want to leave the stream, there are some other changes I guess I want to go over with the level design. I've made some small changes. So I noticed, like, I've been using these like little tile pieces here, like these roadways. I don't know what you want to call them, just sporadically throughout the level. And I had noticed that, like, subconsciously, whenever I had used them in a level, I would follow them. And I realized it's kind of a good subtle indicator on where to go in the game. So I kind of started kind of like remapping some of the areas to start including these little tile road pieces a little bit more as just a subtle cue as to how to navigate the level. So you can see, you'll notice this when you play it yourself. I've added some more stuff here. I added a little bit more detail, like this pond and stuff, kind of filled out the area. One other thing that I think a lot of people didn't notice this, and that's okay, actually. I think this is a good thing, honestly, when it comes to the design, is there's a lot of subtle stuff in the design, too, that I really worked on. So if we go here, I guess it's not so important anymore now that you can zoom out. But before, you got to remember, this zoom out didn't exist, right? So it would just be the normal size screen. There's this chest over here, and you wouldn't be able to see that. I want you to look at the shape that we have going on here. We have this kind of like zigzag, like L kind of shape going on here with the chest over here. You'll notice the stairs go up here, but they don't go straight to the chest, right? I want you to keep this shape in mind while I go over here to the tank. What do you see? So this was like a very deliberate design. It used to be that the chest would be all the way over here, like straight up the stairs. However, there's no reason for players to go beyond these stairs here. So it's very likely players wouldn't go beyond these stairs and see that there's a chest over there. I want to make sure that I kind of have that carrot on a stick kind of thing, like, oh, there's a chest over there. How do I get that? And this is not the only place I've done that. There are other areas in the level where I've similarly had to move the map around to make sure that while following the main path, you'll get a hint at where there's some treasure, right? I think it's back through this way. Yeah. So once again, here we have this lever. And actually, the lever used to exist right, the square right in front of the player right now. That's where it used to be. However, I shifted the map around once again because when you move down here, oh, what's that? There's a chest down there. You see that chest down there. And that's kind of the hope. It's a little bit too far down. I wish it could be a little bit further up. But still, it's once again the carrot on a stick kind of idea here where hopefully players will be like, oh, I followed the main path and oh, there's the chest there. How do I get that? So this is not something anyone had brought up during any of the feedback. And I think that's actually a good thing, honestly, because it's kind of a really subtle design. And so if it was too obvious, then I think if it was too obvious, I think it wouldn't, it would just, people wouldn't like have to think, right? Like if I just put the chest like right here next to the player, like you just grab it. It's right there. There's no reason to think about it. But at the same time, you know, putting it there as a carrot on stick, it just indicates to players, oh, there's a way to get that. How do I get that? So yeah, I don't know. This is something I wanted to bring up. Anyways, not feeling like streaming lately, but I guess I can at least talk about shit. Some shit about Fidel, yeah. Feel free to talk shit. Anyways, so those are just some of the things that I wanted to mention that other people hadn't brought up. And also some of the things you won't see yourself, because like I said, I've been going back through adding some of these roads, tiles, whatever you want to call them, to kind of give a little bit more clear of a path to follow. It's obviously not completely done because I should probably add some here. I have to go back through all the maps and kind of add it in tastefully. So this is what's originally there. So, anyways. Okay, with that said, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to playtest my game. So, Fortuna and Mr. Orc, so you don't get spoiled on stuff, and I get your raw experience so you aren't spoiled on any sort of puzzles or battle concepts or anything like that. Now's the time to leave. And I definitely appreciate it if you did leave. It's kind of weird to ask my viewers to leave, but anyways, because I would value your more raw experience, your raw feedback without knowing all of the ins and outs of the game. And I guess for any of the people who are watching the archive as well, if you planned on playtesting it, now is also the time for you to leave. Although, because I had to restart my fucking computer because Adobe sucks ass, I don't even have the game folder open. There it is. All right, I'm launching the game. Make sure volume's all good. Pretty quiet. Should be okay. All right. So, just launch right into it. So, this whole beginning, part of this beginning is part of the original game, and then most of this beginning has been completely reformatted for the beta test itself. This is kind of where I dump a lot of text. So, but this beginning right here, well, it seems we recruited another controller. This is part of the original beginning. Let's dispense with the pleasantries and just get down to business, shall we? We've allowed you, controller, to tailor our prepared test towards your own liking. You'll find a variety of settings and options that suit you. Would you like to take a look at our options? Note, some options cannot be changed after this point. So this is your first introduction into game rules. One thing I would like to do at this point, it's not here in the playtest, but I want to add a presets option as well. And I kind of have an idea. It's not just going to be like your regular list. I kind of have an idea of how I think I'm going to set this up, where you'd have like different cards here that you could select that would basically be presets for your game rules options, or you could just create your own game rules. But anyways, this is your introduction to game rules. Of course, game rules is an important part of my game, so I want to bring your attention to it from the very start. So you can check the options menu, and the first thing it brings you to is game rules. Change game behavior and variables to alter your experience with the game. Modify rules to the game to adjust difficulty. Note these changes only affect new games. Changes do not alter existing save files. So here we go. Mechanics, alter core behaviors of the game. Detailed information of settings can be found in the game manual. There is a game manual, actually. I included that, by the way. Here it is. It's not finished, but I went ahead and included everything that I have. And it does go over all of the game rules options here and explains them. So you can read some more about it if you want. There's also more information about the combat as well, explaining all the mechanics in quite a lot of depth. So if you are confused about anything, you can just check out the game manual that is included with the beta test. So down here, we have all sorts of different options. I'm not going to go over all of them because this stream would last forever. But anyways, this is kind of a general glance at game rules. The one thing I will say, if you are someone who's going to beta test this, I would actually recommend enabling this option, Save at Torch, which basically anytime you come across any of the healing torches, it will ask you, after you get healed, it'll ask you, do you wish to save? So it'll provide save locations. So I would recommend turning that on during the beta test. So anyways, these are all sorts of different options. I'm going to play it as it is intended, as the standard balance is intended, and that's just like this. So there we go. This is the closed beta test, November 2022. So from this point on, all of this information is like specific to the beta test, and it's basically a text dump tutorializing all the information. We are joining the main protagonist, Fidel, midway through her journey. Fidel is not the brightest young girl, but is a naively optimistic one. She is currently trying to solve the mystery of the mountain, which has fallen sick. Haha, you remember that joke I made earlier, right? Now the mountain has begun spewing lava and shaking. What could be the cause? There's a game manual included with this game, and it's recommended that you take time to read it. I just mentioned that. The manual will not only teach you basic mechanics, but will also cover more advanced combat tactics as well. I should have changed the text speed. I forgot about that. However, I can still offer you a brief tutorial now. Would you like to hear a basic explanation of the tutorial and our exploration and combat? Yes. So which would you like to read about? So we'll start with exploration. Controls are standard PC controls, WASD or arrow keys to move. Fidel can also jump when near a narrow one-gap tile. Face the direction you wish to jump and press the action key, default to space. Which, by the way, I should mention, it is WASD by default in my game. So there's that. Fidel has other actions too. These will be explained again later, but for now, here's a brief overview. So this is also something I've done deliberately. It is a text dump, but this is what we call priming when it comes to teaching. It's where you introduce a concept in advance before you actually encounter it, so that you kind of reserve that spot in your mind. You don't really remember it or recall it, but when it does come up, it will stick much easier because you've reserved that space in your head for that idea. So even though it is a text dump, I've done my best to try to teach these mechanics as best as I can with just a text dump. So anyways, these will be explained again later, but for now, here's a brief overview. R is recharge lightning rod. E, expend one charge of the lightning rod. F, throw a fish if you have one in your inventory. This concludes the exploration tutorial. Which would you like to read about? Combat. Combat in Fidel and the Pauper's Paradox uses the confidence system. Combat begins with reduced ConP for everyone, enemies included. ConP is this game's equivalent to MP. Every non-ConP consuming skill will restore ConP. This includes attacking, guarding, called poise, and receiving damage. You can use ConP for magic attacks. There are 3 element types plus healing. The elements are wind, shock, and fire. It's also important you remember this order: wind, shock, fire. Again, priming you. Using one element type has a chance to build a weakness to that element type. So, for example, repeated use of wind attacks will gradually make the enemy take more and more wind damage. But if you use another element, for example, shock, all wind weaknesses will be reset. However, there may be times you want to sacrifice all element weaknesses. Each element stack also creates a greater weakness to its relative element. There's a typo there. Yeah, I mean, this is all placeholder text. I already know there's some typos in this. Whatever, it's placeholder text. This is called element juggling. You can build up many stacks of wind weaknesses, then cast a shock spell to erase all the wind weaknesses but cause massive damage. Wind's relative element is shock, shock's relative is fire, fire's relative is wind. Wind, shock, fire. Finally is confidence balance, often shortened to ConBal. At the extremities of the confidence meter is a buff. When Fidel's ConP is low, she will receive a physical attack buff. When Fidel's ConP is high, she will receive a magic attack buff. You can also alter what types of buffs exist at the extremities of the ConP meter through the game rules options. So to summarize, ConP starts low, use elements to build weaknesses, strategize ConP usage to exploit buffs. Would you like to try a practice fight before ending this tutorial? I'm going to go ahead and say no, but if you're playtesting it, then you are welcome to do it's kind of a lengthy fight deliberately, so you have plenty of time to practice like juggling and stacking and all of that stuff. But it should give you a nice chance to kind of practice all that in a safe environment. This concludes the combat tutorial. Which would you like to read about? We're finished reading. You have been given access to the dev menus. The dev menu via the skill debug dev menu. I call it out explicitly right here, so I don't know why so many people miss this. Please avoid using this skill on your first playthrough. Using this skill in combat may also cause problems. Only use it outside of combat. The purpose of granting this skill to you is so if you find yourself in trouble, this skill will help you out of that trouble spot. Well, let's begin the test. So you can see that we start in this room. Would you like to make a save? This will allow you to skip the intro when replaying. Note that replaying from this save will not allow you to change your game rules options. Create a save. Yeah, we'll go ahead and create a save. There we go. If you'd like to go through the intro faster next time, disable tutorials from the options menu. Please check your equipment and items. Okay, so first of all, items. So we have a nice complement. This is exactly what I was talking about before. So MP restoring items are things like this: warm letter, a nice compliment, the things that restore your confidence. Then you have a latte and black coffee for restoring health. And then in equipment, we don't have any weapons. We don't have an accessory 1. We do have an accessory 2. I've provided players with some basic options here. So we have a ribbon, a lovely ribbon that makes you feel lucky, increases stack rate. Confidence booster restores a small amount of ConP each turn, and a healthy booster restores a little health each turn. I'm going to go with, normally I actually kind of go with the confidence booster. It's come in clutch a few times. But this time I'm actually going to go with the ribbon. Stack rate is it's basically your luck stat. It is slightly modified over the standard RPG Maker formula, where it is your stack rate is independent of the enemy's stack rate, or I guess in a sense, your luck is independent of the enemy's luck. So they are two separate entities. It's not a comparison between the two. It is only the individuals. And it also affects your chance of applying stacks to enemies. So having a higher stack rate will increase your chance of applying stacks. It's that simple. So we have these things. This is the main goal here. So Mom always said I have a hard head, but I don't think it's hard enough to break that. I need some tools. So this is your first room. The goal here is to get up there. And it will lead you back around to that point eventually. If you try to go this way, not available in closed beta. For all the doors there, and down here as well, it'll just say the same thing. So the main goal here is to basically just go through this side of the dungeon. So you have these two doors here. So if you go through this one, you are in the lower part of this room. And there's not really anything you can do here. So I will just go back. So we come to the first puzzle, and there is a little tutorial here to remind you of how to use the fish. So this is a water tank, a common puzzle element for this dungeon. With precise timing, you can use the action key to catch the fish. Once you have caught the fish, you can press the F key to throw the fish. Pressing F near lava will spawn a temporary platform that Fidel can use to jump across. F is for fish. Use fish to make platforms to cross lava. So there we go. And then this right here, I think this lever will reset the water. Should I pull the lever? No. So, this one will be my bestest friend. I'll keep him forever. So, we want to use that fish to cross over here. This is something I put a lot of work into, though. You can throw the fish wherever you want. And we can jump over here. And this is where things supposedly get borked. It didn't get borked for me, though. You can see I spawned in the correct place. As I was talking about earlier in this stream, the checkpoint system for whenever the platform despawns, so you have a checkpoint system. It saves your location at certain spots. And so whenever the platform despawns underneath Fidel, it will just send you back to that point and also take off a little bit of your health. Wow, I'm getting some weird chugs with this. Interesting. So anyways, let's switch the camera. There we go. So what we want to do is throw the fish here, jump across, and what is that? Ah. Now we have our first taste of combat. So here's how this really works. So you have two different options for your first turn, move. You can either attack or you can guard, which I just did. Guarding is good because it's going to reduce the damage, and also it restores more ConP. It should almost always restore more ConP. However, it is based on a formula of a % of your total ConP plus your current magic attack. what we want to do, and this people didn't seem to get this, is juggle. Juggle is pretty powerful, actually. So we just want to try to get any sort of stack on them. In the beta test, I think the fire skill is kind of borked, so it's going to do lower damage. So ideally, we just want to use wind. And I also know the dramatic candle here can actually be a real threat because he can easily apply stacks to you. Obviously, if you're a player, you wouldn't know that. You'd have to learn that over time, but he can easily apply stacks of fire damage to you, which will burn you over time. So we'll get 1 damage right there. So what we want to do is just get a stack on him, and we're going to juggle. We have 1 stack, so we're not going to do super duper damage because it's only 1 stack, but it is going to do a lot more damage than using wind. And because the health is low enough, it's dead. So that's kind of the OP strategy here. So juggling works like that. People didn't seem to get that. Put 1 stack. So you can see actually my ConP is low. You just heard the clang. And so I'm going to, I can use the attack now because my attack is boosted. So I'm going to do more damage if I use it now. However, at about 1/3 health, enemies can do a lot of damage, especially if you have stacks. I have 2 stacks here. So if he does a fire attack while I have 2 fire stacks, he could actually do a lot of damage. Plus, the burning damage means I'm going to take at least 2 points of damage each turn. So ideally, at this point in time, it's going to be better to start working towards getting enough ConP to start healing. So even though I do have the ConP buff right now, I'm going to go ahead and guard. And you can see I don't have enough confidence right now to heal, so we're going to guard again. So we can reduce the damage and also build up confidence. So, cutting it pretty close there, but that's okay. At about 1/3 health is when you probably want to start trying to work on recovering. So, he still has that 1 stack, so we'll go ahead and we'll juggle the stack. There we go. It didn't kill him. He's gonna try to heal himself. How much ConP do I have? Not enough. So I do have the ConP buff right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and just attack him. And there we go. In that one fight, you got to see all of the mechanics. You got to see stacking, juggling, and ConP all at play. Plus, of course, confidence itself. So now that he's dead, we can use this. We're gonna move the water over to this tank here. And if we wanted to go there, we can't. There's this in the way. Mom always said I have a hard head, but I don't think it's hard enough to break that. I need some tools. So, on our way we go to the next room. So here we are in the next room. This is the room that I was showing off with the 3 tanks puzzle, but now you can see that the map doesn't zoom out. So, yeah. So, however, in this version of it, I do have this, which no one seemed to mention. I guess they must have missed it. This is my take a look around mechanic, where you can take a look around. When you're finished looking around, press the action button to exit. So you can just take a look around the room, see what you need to do, kind of get the information that you want. Yep. All right, I got an idea. Finished. So there we go. So my recommendation for the puzzles in my game is to think about it in each of the individual pieces. Once you start thinking of the puzzle as a whole, you're going to start missing important information. Break it down into its individual parts. What are the different parts that make this puzzle? So there's a fish, there's a water tank, there's a lever. So how can we move these 3 pieces around to find the solution? Where do we want to go, right? What's the answer to this puzzle? Right now, we need to know where to go. And the answer is going to be the lower tank down here. We want to go down here because the exit is this way. So, how do we get there? Well, if we break it down into our 3 parts, the levers, the tanks, the fish, I think it starts to become pretty easy to see the answer. So first what we want to do is we need a fish. right? We use the fish to cross. So let's get a fish. Now I have the fish. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go down here and I'm going to, oh, this is what I was talking about before. So I can still interact with these, right? Which can lead to some confusion. Because even if if I do this now and I do this, it's gonna reset everything. So, anyways, so now that I reset it, that's what I just fixed by preventing the player from doing that to prevent confusion. So now that I have the fish, we want to do this and then fill the lower tank. So there we go. Now we have the lower tank. So we have the fish in the inventory. We filled that tank. So we'll throw the fish across and we'll grab this fish. So there is one thing that maybe some people are thinking. I had someone bring this up. I don't know if they discovered this soft lock mechanic or another soft lock mechanic that I have, but I am going to show something off here. So if I get a fish, oh shit. I forgot to flip a switch. We need to flip that switch. Yeah, that's where the confusion comes from. There we go. Let's try that one more time. All right, so if I get this fish and I forget to flip a switch, I can soft lock myself. So let me show that. In this beta test, it's very debuggy. It's not the final version. I've implemented the final version now. So anyways, if we go here and then the platform disappears and then, oh no, I can't go back. What shall I do? Maybe I can go over here? Nope. Nothing I can do there. There's no fish there. What can I do? This seems to be a problem. Anytime now. Do it. There it is. Alright. Anyways, so this will spawn. Looks like you're stuck. Do you want to reset? Yes. Oh, okay. So I at least cleaned it up. So before it just had a bunch of debug text there, but it looks like I must have forgot that for the beta test I actually cleaned it up. That's not the final version of it, but at least it looks a little bit nicer than how it did before. So anyways, it'll just, if you wait enough time, if you get soft locked and wait enough time, the game will help you. Now I gotta catch the fish. Oh my god! Okay. So, ooh, I was just about to soft lock myself. So, you want to do that, and do that. Oh, I just realized the volume is quite loud. Well, hopefully it's not so bad now. That's one problem of not having anyone in chat, is that no one could tell me that the volume was loud. Well, that sucks. Anyway, so we'll get this fish. And we will cross. Alright, so actually this fight here can be really challenging because these chickens can attack twice in a turn. So your first turn move is an important one. I think in this case they're going to try to build confidence for their first turn, so I'm going to just try to get some damage off. Alright, So as I expected, they tried to just recover, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get a stack. This group right here is going to make it really tough to do damage. They're going to be outputting so much damage themselves that it's going to be tough to, like, you're going to constantly be healing yourself. Every time you heal, you're just going to lose the health you just healed, and you get stuck in this healing loop. Fortunately, it's not so bad. They didn't get me stuck into it right away because they didn't put any stacks right away. But this group can be pretty tricky. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think it'll kill them. Yeah, there we go. So I do have ConP right now, but I'm going to go ahead and start trying to recover confidence so I can heal myself. And fortunately, they didn't do too many attacks, so I'm safe. So, yeah, actually, surprisingly, this fight with them is not going so bad, but take my word, it can go south pretty quickly with this group. I've just gotten lucky this round. Okay, so that skill right there has reduced my luck, my stack rate. So it might be hard to get some stacks, but actually, from my experience, it doesn't affect it as much as I wish it would. So it should probably still be okay. I don't have enough confidence, though. So let's use my ConP. I wasn't able to get a stack on him, which sucks. So, there's no point in juggling, because juggling only works when you have a stack. I also didn't have enough confidence anyway, so we'll use ConP to do some damage. And we'll try again. Actually, this might kill him, honestly. Yeah. So, once again, we'll use ConP. Still a little bit loud, isn't it? Put that down. Like, there. I think so. Anyways, alright. So now, once again, we're just going to try to build up a stack on him. And no luck that time. Ooh, my health is getting pretty low, so I'm going to go ahead and start recovering ConP. There we are. So we're safe now. Hopefully he doesn't do another fire attack. Yeah, there we go. He's dead. Okay. So with that done, we've made it to kind of sort of the midway point. It's a little bit before the midway point. So I do want you to note there are some fish in here, right? They are here for decoration, but they serve a little bit more of a purpose than just decoration. I'll show you that in a minute. There's nothing we can do with it right now. Right now, I need to go in here. So you can see there's a fish over there, but we can't jump over there. So we'll just jump across. For some reason, it won't open. Another earth shake. Mr. Mountain is falling sick even more. What'd I do? Why is Mr. Treasure Box shouting at me? It's getting way too hot for me. I need to find some way to get Mr. Treasure Box's present soon, or I might melt. So I tried to give a hint here with the flashing lights. You can also see, due to the action indicator, that it will say, oh, you can do something with it. Looks like there's a hole to put a large piece of candy, but I don't have any. So what we need to do is get some candy. Got a big, beautiful piece of candy, but it looks important, so I can't eat it now. I should hurry. Got an amber gem. So I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna get the fish. Got the fish. So I tried to mislead you with this. The answer is right there. It looks like you want to go all the way around. I did that on purpose. It's to mislead you. No other reason than that. And now we have the last gem. So we will go to these and put them in. And it's not over yet. Now it is. Hooray! I got some fancy rock tools. Now I can be a Lastberry, a Lacquerhairy, a Lamentostory, a Lapidary, a rock person. Release your inner lapidary. This antique hammer and chisel set. Whenever you find destroyed stone stairs, just press the action button to craft beautiful new steps to tread. That sounds fun. So I can show this off in action now. So we have our new fancy tools. So whenever we see any of these broken stone steps, we can break them. And we get scrap of paper. I bet the library guy would like this. Unfortunately, in this beta test, you can't do anything with them, which is why I didn't get any of the other chests that you've seen so far throughout the beta test, because unfortunately, you don't get to experience that. So next, we can open this and go to the lower part of the level. So I'm going to grab this chest here, which is going to introduce you to another mechanic with the new tool you got. Oh, it's just some rocks. I guess I can make some statues with them. With your hammer and chisel set, you can use marble slabs to craft statues in combat. Statues can act as a decoy to reduce the incoming damage from enemies. This is perfect when there are too many enemies for Fidel to fight by herself. In addition to acting as a decoy, crafting a statue will boost Fidel's mood. Fidel will craft whatever her muse inspires her to craft, and depending on the crafted statue, this unfortunately looks difficult to read with Fidel right there, but anyways, stats may temporarily be increased. Just make sure Fidel has the materials, marble slabs, to craft a statue. Without them, she can't make her art. So, just as I was saying before, with the few chickens in the party, they can get really difficult. There is a solution for that, and I have now introduced you to that solution. Kind of funnily enough, this is supposed to look pretty intimidating because this is your first time to encounter this enemy. So it's supposed to look intimidating, but actually this fight is not too terrible. You don't need to use Ego Artifex Paratus, which is Latin, and if you want to bust open Google Sensei and throw that in there and find out what Ego Artifex Paratus is, you might enjoy it, you might get a laugh. Anyways, Ego Artifex Paratus allows you to build a statue, and this fight isn't super necessary. The chicken fights, I think it helps a lot to have a statue. But let's watch our statue. So we got Pisces Mortui, which is some more Latin. So if you know your Latin or you want to bust open Google Sensei, you can maybe get another laugh. Or you just find my sense of humor just not funny at all, which is also quite understandable. Anyway, so this helps distract the enemy, and so they will occasionally attack the statue. There's one thing about this that I think is pretty interesting, and I'm quite aware of it too. You're basically sacrificing your ability to restore ConP, because, of course, enemies' attacks boost your ConP. So when you add an enemy that distracts them, suddenly you are not generating as much ConP. you're basically sacrificing the amount of damage you're taking for the amount of ConP you're restoring, right? So I do think it's an interesting trade-off there. So anyways, the rules pretty much stay the same, although we don't have any ConP. So we need to build some ConP. The best idea here is to remove the dramatic candles. Like I said, they can quickly start building stacks on you, and things can get really out of hand if you let them do that. So they are like top priority. You should get rid of them quickly. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I didn't build any stacks on him, unfortunately. But they don't have a lot of health, so even though I didn't stack on them, I did attack them once, and because I attacked him once and I got a wind attack on him, I think it should kill him. Yeah. So Pisces is gonna die. Yeah, he's dead. Well, bye-bye, Pisces. Alright, so we'll just use Conbow, try to actually, yeah, probably want to start working towards healing, actually. So that's what I'm going to do. So that skill actually doesn't have an animation on it. I also don't think it's fully, like, developed yet. I need to fix that. I don't remember exactly what it does. I think this is actually a special state that resists stacks. I don't remember exactly what it does, but yeah, that's under construction. Anyways, it's good news for me. They didn't apply another stack, which gives me a chance to heal. All right. Is that gonna kill? Oh no, that didn't kill him. Probably need one more attack. I did get a physical attack on him, so I probably don't need to juggle, but I'm going to do it anyways for style points. And this guy is just a tank, so it's probably okay. It's dangerous to do this. It's risky, but I'm just going to go ahead and attack him. The one reason why you don't want to do that is because it does restore their confidence when you attack them too, just like it restores your confidence. So he does have a fire attack that he could have pulled off, but he didn't. So fortunately, I'm safe. And that fire attack with fire stacks would probably wipe me, right? So that was risky to do, but it's okay. It worked out in the end. Yeah, that fire attack right there, Burning Oxidizer. That could be troublesome. So do I want to... I think I can maybe kill him. There we go. Alright, so now that all the enemies are wiped out, I will show off a secret that no one who playtested the game had discovered. You'll notice there are a lot of fish in here. There are a lot of fish. Let's catch them. I got the fish! What an ugly fish, I can't wait to throw it. Now I can eat fried fish. This one's kind of annoying to get, and I should probably fix this, but because there's jump pads along here, and the fish passes by there, it's kind of tough to catch it, because the player wants to jump, not catch the fish. Alright, 2 left. There's the 2 at the top of the stairs. By the way, this is not important. This is like, I guess you could call it an Easter egg. So I know it's kind of convoluted. That's kind of the point. It's supposed to, like, I'm not surprised no one discovered this during the playtest. A little bit disappointed, but not surprised. Because I thought I had trained folks to catch fish, but no one did. There we go. Caught them all. And you'll notice the music is fading out. There we go. You found one hidden music track. So now it has replaced the soundtrack with this little jingle, which if you played my previous game, you might recognize. Oh no, I dropped my dinner. So anyways, all the levels have hidden background music. There's like, the plan is to have about 6 hidden background musics that you can find. There's one in each level plus a couple of other secrets. So this is just your introduction to it. That's the hidden background music, which is basically rewarding players for just going way far out of their way for exploring my game. What are we going to do here? We're going to start with a guard. Oh, oops. I didn't mean to guard again. That was an accident. Alright, so now won't accidentally guard again. Got a stack on him, very nice. Oh, holy shit, do I have 4 stacks on me? So this is one thing I'm trying to work on. It's so hard to read this, honestly. This is hopefully something that's going to be changed with my battle UI. But yeah, it's so tough to read. But I think that's 4 stacks, which is pretty fucking gnarly, man. Because that's going to be 4 points of health each turn, plus whatever the chicken does to me. Yeah, that was 4 points of damage. That's brutal. Yeah, you can see how this can quickly get out of hand if you let those stacks just run wild. Okay, it's gone. This fucking chicken's not dead yet! Fucking die! Alright, there we go. Alright, so here I'm gonna go ahead and use Ego Artifacts Paratus. Yeah, I don't remember the name either. So you can see, I didn't mention this, but when you get the slabs, it mentions that Fidel will craft whatever her muse inspires her to craft. So basically what I'm saying is it's going to craft a random statue every time you use it. And there's 4 different statues and each one provides a different buff. Currently this is a stack rate buff that we're getting. So it's probably a good idea to try to get some stacks off while Gallus Statua is here. But it kind of looks more important that I heal. Yeah, we want to heal. I just noticed something. Hang on. Yeah, it's still there. It shouldn't be there. That's a bug. It should be removed from... Oh my gosh. I think if I don't want to use it now. If I use it now, there is a failsafe in the event that it's there, and it's just going to waste a turn. But I don't even want that failsafe to show up. Alright, anyways, yeah, let's try to wipe these guys out before they kill my chicken. Wait. Actually, I probably don't need to juggle, because I had gotten a physical attack on him. But, whatever. Like I said, style points, juggling, yeah! I think I want to start focusing on healing now. Oh, my chicken's gonna die. Oh, my chicken's still alive! Alright, so I can probably get a physical attack off. That's going to have enough ConP to heal, so... And I have enough health to... Oh, but I am taking 2 points of damage. Okay, well, that's fine. It's safe. Okay, yeah. Alright. So it should also remove the chicken when it dies, right? So that was telling me that there's a problem going on, because this was still in the menu, and, the chicken didn't get removed. Like, because this was still in the menu when it shouldn't have been... It's also not surprising that when the chicken died, it didn't get removed from the party, it's just stayed there. Well, that's a problem. No, I want to use this. Hopefully this kills him? Yeah, good. Alright, I'm not too worried about the slime. Okay, but that could be bad. I was gonna just try to kill him without healing. Just build up as much ConP as I can. Another mechanic I have in the game is any leftover ConP you have just goes right into your health at the end of the battle. So if I had just focused on just doing physical attacks and saving up a bunch of ConP, if I killed him with just a bunch of ConP left over, then it would just basically full heal me at that point. That's what I was trying to do, but I needed to heal anyways, because, yeah, I have too many fire stacks on me, and he used Burning Oxidizer, so... I'm gonna try it now, though. I think I can do it. He's gonna die soon, pretty sure. Right? He's gonna die soon, right? My health is low, but I don't have any stacks, so it's probably okay. Yeah, there it is. All right, so all 23 points of confidence that I had left over is gonna go right into my health. So you can see, full healed. There we go. This way is going to be another page, but I'm not going to get it because, like I said, there's no reason to. And last time, Ego Artifacts Paratus. Glad we were able to get a stack on him right away. But now I just need to build up enough confidence, which I'm not going to have this turn. So, yeah. So I did extra damage there too because I have ConP plus I have the buff from Pisces Mortui. So I did 4 points of damage with that attack. I'm going to try to kill him with just physical attacks. Yeah, there we go. So that way I have extra ConP left over that I can just use that on trying to focus down the other chicken there. Fortunately, I didn't get a stack on him. But that's okay. Alright. Wow, we might actually get to keep the fish all the way to the end. Let's see if it happens. I don't have any sort of bonus for that yet, but I kind of want to implement some sort of small minor bonus for like keeping your statue alive until the end of combat. The only thing is it also doesn't feel too special because, like, you can use healing spells on it. I don't encourage it, but there's nothing stopping you from doing it. Oh, I totally didn't need to do that. I had enough ConP to use the magic attack. There we go. And he's alive! There we go! Why do you have a fish statue? Because I crafted that fish statue. That was part of the skill. It is a decoy. Alright, so now we're back to this room. Got the fish. Fix the stairs. Ah, and it's a familiar place. We've looped all the way back around. So now that I've looped back around and have my magical tools, now we're gonna go back to the central room and we can now enter the upper part of this level right here. There we are. So now we're in the upper part of the dungeon. So we'll heal. Get this chest, although it's actually kind of not important because we're about to lose it. Wow, what a beautiful princess crown, but where's my scepter? In the right side of this dungeon, you would have found the big key to open this door. However, in this closed beta test, that portion of the dungeon is not available to you. So I will give you the key to proceed forward. Receive the key! I think it's so cool how all the ambience just drops out. You know, the music fades out. You're in that quiet room, and then you go out here. God, I'm proud of how this turned out. It's so cool. Fidel falls into the volcano's caldera. That's just placeholder. Ouch! I keep falling down. I should really watch my step. I could get seriously injured. Ah, I must have dropped my stuffs. Camera work too, thanks. Hey, my stuff's! Where'd it go? Give it back! Where am I, anyways? Is this Mr. Mountain's stomach? Ah, if this is the stomach, then I can give him some soup. I bet some yummy soup will make Mr. Mountain all better. I'll make Mr. Mountain feel better. Dr. Fidel is here. I just need to find my stuffs first. And learn how to make soup. Oh, I think Mr. Lightning Pod is happy today. I guess he can see the sky through Mr. Mountain's mouth. Wait, Mr. Lightning Pod didn't get burned. I still have him. Would you like to create a new save? I recommend using a new save slot. Wow. This will allow you to quickly replay this portion of the beta test. Yes. The red text is there deliberately because she mispronounces a lot of words, and I thought it might be too easy for people to think those intentional mispronunciations would be unintentional typos. So I wanted a way to convey to readers that I know it's spelled wrong. The lower left of your screen is a new HUD element. This corresponds with the number of charges your lightning rod currently holds. You can press R to gain 1 charge for your lightning rod. This will also cost Fiddle some health, but in this scenario that isn't important. You will see a spark around Fiddle when the lightning rod has acquired a target to hit. Press E to expend 1 charge of your lightning rod. In this scenario, the only possible targets will be enemies. Striking enemies with your lightning rod will make them move slower. This will help you avoid combat, so just remember, press R to recharge, press E to expend. Use lightning to slow enemies to prevent combat encounters. Go ahead and try recharging your lightning rod now. There we go, 5 charges. And also, the warning symbol came up saying that you have full, but there's nothing stopping you from doing it again if you like child abuse. Like I said, it does hurt Fiddle to do that. Ouch! The lightning pod is already extra shiny. There's a mistake there. That should be that's the wrong color. But anyways, it's already extra shiny. I can't charge it anymore. By the way, the game tracks it whenever you do that. If you are a child abuser, the game knows it. Welcome to Caldera Colosso. In Caldera Colosso, all of your items except your basic sword, accessory, lightning rod, and hammer and chisel have been removed from your inventory. You will have 5 minutes to search the whole arena for as much gear and equipment as you can find to take on a difficult boss fight. Right, so I had feedback I only had one person who made it this far into the beta test, and their feedback on this was that they didn't like Caldera Colosso, and I think they didn't get it. Caldera Colosso is a battle royale game in RPG Maker. It's a single-player battle royale game. They were saying okay, so let me keep reading. So you have 5 minutes to search the whole arena for as much gear and equipment as you can find to take on a difficult boss. The available paths and types of chests and items those chests contain are random. However, here's the battle royale part, okay? You must return to the center of the arena before the 5 minutes are up. I had someone saying they don't understand, why do you need to return to the center? This is why. You don't have the closing storm or whatever like you have in most battle royale games, right? I thought about how to implement that. It is a lot of work. This is like a one-off section of my game. It wasn't worth putting in like a closing wall and actually programming like the collision for that and all that stuff. Not worth it. Putting a timer on it is basically the wall. Like the wall closes down around the center of the map, right? This is the same thing. By the time the wall has reached its smallest point in a battle royale game, you need to go to the center of the map. Same idea here. The timer is ticking down. You need to go to the center of the map before the end of the timer. So, anyways, it's a fucking battle royale game. The people who left feedback just didn't get it. They're like, why do you have to make it back to the center of the arena? This is why. That is the rules of this game. However, you must return to the center of the arena before the 5 minutes are up, so don't get lost. To summarize, You have 5 minutes to search the arena and return to the center. Then you will fight a difficult boss. When you're ready, step into the center of the arena. Okay. So. Right. So this is Caldera Colosso. Oh, why is that there? Oh, that should be fixed. Oops. Let me add that to my list right now. Misplaced action indicator, I guess is what I'll call that. Misplaced. How did I spell misplaced? Whatever. Misplaced action indicator at Caldera Colosso. So there are. So I talked about how Caldera Colosso is sort of like a battle royale game. You've only got the timer hadn't started yet. So of course the battle royale part is part of the inspiration for Caldera Colosso. The Colosso part of its name is also because there is sort of an arena in Golden Sun called the Colosso. And in the Colosso in Golden Sun, it's the same thing. You lose all your weapons, and the goal is to try to get to the center of this, like you have an obstacle course that gets you to the center of an arena, and then at the center of the arena are 2 items, a strong item and a weak item. Whoever gets there first gets the strong item, and whoever gets there last gets the weak item. And then you have to fight a gladiator, and there's like 3 rounds of this. So it's kind of a similar idea here. So it's like a combination of Colosso, which is why I called it Caldera Colosso, from Golden Sun, as well as kind of a battle royale mechanic too, but it's single player. Crazy idea, is there any feedback on how much of the 5 minutes you've got? The song. The song is exactly 5 minutes. And there's also the timer at the top as well. Oh, also, built into the song, there's a whistle. At halfway point and the 1 minute point, I believe the whistle will sound. Gotta get some charges. Nothing there. Yes, they are. Because it's a sport. There are crowds in the music too if you listen. So I'm pretty proud of the music here. You'll notice that the song progressively changes throughout the course of it. So now it's kind of like added this drama into the music. So that, like I said, there is an indicator there with the music, because now this song has gotten a little bit more dramatic as the time gets closer to the end of the 5 minutes, and it's going to get progressively more dramatic as we get closer to the end of the time limit. And I should probably start turning back at this point too, because it's going to take me a while to get back. So this will be the last chest. I hope I have enough time. I think it should be okay. And you can hear the whistle there to indicate you have 1 minute left. It's part of the song, so it's not exactly 1 minute because I wanted to match the beat. I didn't want it to be off beat. The song play a little bit more before we finish, but it's gonna get like really fucking nuts in the last countdown. So there we go. So now you have a chance to kind of equip yourself before the fight, so we can decide what to do. So let's decide a nice build here. So we have, coincidentally, both of the different shock weapons. So one does shock damage, but has a low chance to apply a stack, while the other one does physical damage, but has a high chance to apply a stack. So usually I've found from my playtesting, prioritizing stacks is usually more effective. So I think I'm going to go with the full bridge rectifier for my weapon. And let's see if we have anything that benefits that. Not really. For our accessory, we only have the unbalanced tiara, which is okay. In this playtest, I don't know how often combo comes into effect. The unbalanced tiara is a nuts item that to go out the program. It has its own special section in my game manual here, because unlike any other accessory, its function is kind of wacky. Let's see. Yeah, here, the unbalanced tiara. The function of the unbalanced tiara equipment is slightly different than most equipment in the game and therefore warrants its own section in the game manual. This item will dramatically increase the stat fluctuation created by ConP. The low and high states will be amplified in their power. However, the between state will also reduce Fidel's effectiveness. The player will need to be mindful of keeping their confidence as high or as low as possible to make the most of this equipment's effect. So, anyways, in this case, so the way that accessory 1 works is that there's usually a trade-off. Like, they have a strong benefit, but also a trade-off, a negative trade-off. We don't have many choices here. We'll just go with the unbalanced tiara, so that's just what we'll do. And then for options here, the best defense is busted. We're gonna win this with the best defense. The way that defense is calculated in this game, which needs to be fixed, I think we're gonna be fine with the best defense. Game is paused. Our new contestant is fired up. You know what that means, right? It's time for our previous victor to step up to the ring. You know him, you love him, like the flip of a switch. Once a man, now a monster. It's Bull! So this is an interesting fight, which also took a while to get to work right. So we have 2 entities here. We have the boss, and we have his crystal. So this crystal is going to debuff Fidel. This is a confidence gem, so he's going to debuff magic attacks. Because we are prioritizing stacks, we want to change this. For now, I'm just going to guard and show you what he does. So he will debuff your magic attacks. So my magic attacks are now weaker with this debuff. Oh, right, because I have the unbalanced crown on. That's why currently my attack is also reduced as well. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that our so what we want to do is make sure that we are not having our a magic attack reduced. So what I'm going to do is attack the confidence gem. So that'll kill the confidence gem, but it's not over yet. So now we have a new gem that's in place. That's a power gem. So if I attack it, let me just show you what happens. So he reduced my physical attack. And now that one is here again. And he will reduce my magic attack. So that's the whole gimmick of this fight is one of them, you have to have one gem present at all times. And so you just need to decide which one is the most beneficial. Now, here's something nice. Unintentionally, while trying to show that off, I've now maxed out my ConP, which means the Conbal effect is in full force because I have the unbalanced crown equipped. So the effects of Conbal, which is currently what's going on, is going to be dramatically affected. Oh, so it switches, and his name is, what is his name? His name is Bull. You get it? You get it? Come on, you get it? Where's, hey. Boolean data type. Boolean, sometimes shortened to bool, is a data type that has one of two possible. Like Boolean. You got it. My jokes are so dumb in this game. Yes, so it switches. Absolutely. You figured it out. So, anyways. So I just want to build stacks. So right now, it is reducing my physical attack, but I don't really care about my physical attack. All I want to do is build stacks on him. So I'm just going to sit here. Even though my damage is going to be low, I don't care. I just want more stacks. More stacks, more stacks, more stacks. So he has 2 stacks. My magic is maxed out. Let's try to get one more stack on him. My health is kind of low though, so you should be careful. It's okay. I'm gonna risk it. We're gonna juggle. We're gonna go for the juggle. 17 damage. There it is. There's the juggle. And we still have plenty of ConP left over. Alright, he's got a lot of stacks on me though, so it's gonna be tough to build up that many stacks again. But we're gonna try. But it's gonna be tough to build up stacks and have the buff of the unbalanced tiara going, because I'm gonna need the heal soon. And in order to benefit from the unbalanced tiara, I need to max out my ConP. But yeah, if I need the heal, it's just not gonna happen. Did I? Okay, yeah. How many stacks? He only has 1 stack. Oh, come on. So he has 2 stacks. Is that 3? No, that's not 3. We're at max ConP though. We got another stack on him. That's 3 stacks. Hang on. I'm gonna gamble. We're gonna go for 4 stacks. My voice cracked. That was a nice crack. We're gonna go for 4 stacks. Four stacks? Oh no, 4 stacks. Come on, 4 stacks. 4 stacks! 4 stacks! Alright, let's see if we can't max out the ConP before the stacks. That's the gamble. The stacks could go away. But we need max ConP, and then we're gonna really hit hard. Stacks are not gone. We have max ConP, 4 stacks. Here goes the big damage. big damage! 24! Yeah! He should be dead soon. This boss actually doesn't have that much health, especially with those big stacks like I've been getting off. Oh no. He's weakened me. Alright, need to heal. Oops, that's not what I want to do. How many stacks does he have? I didn't notice. Oh, he's back up to 4! Oh, we don't have, but we don't have max ConP. Alright, so let's try to build up ConP. Oh, but I'm gonna need to heal soon by the time I can pull that up. I don't know. I'm gonna try, maybe I can get a 5th stack on him. Is that 5? It's 5 stacks! 5 stacks! I wish my ConP was maxed though! What do we get? 17. Oh, a disappointing 17 because of my ConP. Oh, what a fizzle. 5 stacks but only 17. Five stacks is the max, by the way, and getting 5 stacks, even in my own playtesting, and this is probably bad, I probably need to adjust these numbers, but even in my own playtesting, I've maybe only seen 5 stacks like twice. So that was pretty rare to see. Would have been nice if I had ConP all the way maxed out. Is that 4? Rather than... Ooh, but oh, my ConP is reduced right now, which is actually a good chance to... Oh, well, that works. And that's the end of the beta test! It's just the beta test. Oh, I think you meant the anticlimax. You just meant the 10. Yeah. And that's it. press F5. I had to put this here because yeah, I didn't know it was a classic, especially with RPG Maker games. Like, real talk here. So, you joined kind of like midway through my playthrough here, so you kind of missed the beginning. At the beginning, the game refers to you, like the player who's playing the game, as the controller. I was a little bit disappointed to learn that this kind of trope is apparently pretty common with RPG Maker games. In fact, there's one game in particular that actually refers to you, the person controlling the game, as controller. I'm not the first. I mean, not that I thought I was the first, but it is disappointing to know I'm not even the first one to do that in an RPG Maker game. So that sucks. When I release it, I'm sure I'm going to get some comparisons to that game as a result. What can you do? I could either pivot and completely change my story, or just accept the fact that people are going to compare me to another game. And I'm opting for the latter. People will compare me to another game. Oh, well. So. Anyways. So, that's the end of the beta test. And now I've played through the whole thing on stream. And so anyone who's wondering how the dev plays the game, actually, you know what? I played the whole beta test without even using an item either. So, I did have someone mention that Bool was a little bit difficult. I really feel like the game is really not that difficult. Like, because of game rules, because I have game rules, I have a preferred setting that makes the game more difficult. The default balance of the game, I feel, is pretty easy. But I think part of the reason why people might think it's difficult is because they're not utilizing all the tools I give them. I think this is one thing that I feel like I've done pretty well in my game. You don't have too many options, but all of the options will be used from the beginning of the game to the end. You have your magic attacks, you have your regular attack, and you have guarding. And utilizing all of these, plus, of course, your healing, is going to make the game easier. I had people complain about the combat being long, and I'm not like downplaying their complaints. Combat can be long sometimes, but part of that is intentional as well. Like, one of my philosophies around the quote unquote difficulty of the design is not punishing the player with like overly difficult enemies. Like, if you don't understand my combat, you're going to die. That's not the way that I've designed my enemies. Instead, it's kind of like, if you don't understand my combat, it's going to be a slog, because the enemy's health pool begins to balloon quite quickly. So you need to start using like element juggling in order to start doing a lot of damage. And it seems like people were not using. In fact, actually, almost every person who did play my game, they pretty much all said they never used element juggling. Which, yeah, so they didn't think about one of those main mechanics of my game. So, and that's, I think, what it comes down to is that a lot of the complaints about difficulty and the slow combat, of course, I need to adjust. But I think part of it is just making sure that the players are receiving enough information. So I guess you could say the short of it is that my players didn't get enough information. I need to explain things better. And part of that's just the fault of it being a beta test too. It's not just to drop the player in at the beginning of the game and let them play from start to wherever I have last finished. No, that's not how my beta test is. It's, as the industry would call it, a vertical slice that's set from a very specific starting location and goes to a specific end in a very controlled environment. And unfortunately, that results in maybe missing a good tutorial. So the tutorial at the start of this beta test was just a text dump, which I know is not very effective. So anyways, I've been streaming for 3 hours, and that's not entirely true because the beginning of the stream was filled with frustration. I'm not super familiar with JRPGs. Is element juggling? No. Element juggling is not a common mechanic. That's something that's the stacking and element juggling mechanic is like unique to my game. Like the main thing that I want the players to focus on is stacking and is the stacking mechanic, and of course the auxiliary method of juggling, and of course confidence itself. Like those are the focuses of the combat. Yeah. It's actually when I said 3 hours, it was on the nose 3 hours too. So we just hit 3 hours. So and technically there's a little bit more at the beginning because there were some frustrations with my microphone wasn't working because Adobe sucks. I know those sound like two radically different ideas, but Adobe crashed my computer so hard that it corrupted my drivers and led to a lot of frustration. So thank you, Adobe. You're a terrible fucking company. And that took about 30 minutes of troubleshooting. So hooray, technical difficulties. So anyways, I think I'm done streaming for the night, but Mr. Charlie, thank you for joining in and watching me play through the beta test of my own game. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. I think that's going to be it. I'm going to say goodbye here. Sounds like Windows' fault. I don't think so. That was definitely Adobe. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. And next week, what am I going to do next week? I don't know. It's been a couple of weeks since I reviewed some games. So I think next week I'll probably go back to reviewing some terrible RPG Maker games. So until next time, thank you very much. And bye.